pass them back in.
That's all.
All right, we're back. We ready? I would accept a motion to enter back into regular session.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. We're now in open session. Next item on the, is there any business to be had following our closed session? I would accept a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session on April 28th, 2025.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Is there any further business to be had?
Yes.
Chief Arn.
Thank you guys for giving me a little bit of your time tonight. If you've had a chance to review the budget, you know that the fire chief squad is due for replacement this year. We got 50,000 budgeted. I went out and tried to get some quotes to kind of see what it would cost to replace it for something that we needed. In your package, you have the three that I feel like are at the top of the fit the need of what we have. What I had discussed with Alan earlier was that the previous council had passed a resolution to allow him to purchase budgeted vehicles. We felt like it was nice, since we had two new council members, to extend professional courtesy before we made any purchases in that nature. So if you want to review those, and then decide, I guess, if you are agreeable to that resolution, and then Alan and I can proceed further, and he can bring it back to the council for approval, or however you'd like to do that.
That wouldn't need approval once you find it. I mean, you
Correct,
just have the
provided the
permission
Councilman Fairbuck or Councilman Miller are in favor of that resolution as well.
and they're all three under your 50, so whichever you feel is the best
Correct.
value or best fits your need.
And
Chief.
just for the sake of everybody knowing, this would be replacing a
2013 Impala that was Police Chief Kevin Paddock's retired squad car at one point. It was given to me by Justin Erfler, the mechanic. We kind of brought it out of retirement whenever we got the assistant chief's position, because the assistant chief had drove his personal vehicle to Effingham for a fire call because he didn't have a vehicle. So I gave him the Expedition. I took the Impala just kind of as a waiting time for the budget to go through their proper channels, and we've spent the last year trying to locate vehicles and things of that nature so that we could budget for them. We actually had two budgeted, but one got pulled for funding, obviously. So that's where we're at. But they both still need replaced. This would take the place of the Impala, so that at least we would both have four-wheel drive, because the unfortunate side of what I do is sometimes I have to get off road and go through cornfields and things of that nature, and an Impala has already been stuck twice. So that's why we're trying to get to the truck. The other side of it, as you can see in the notes that I talked about, we do have 4 trailers currently that are, one of them, the box trailer that sits outside, is significantly heavy. It's 26 foot. Completely packed to the gills, full of equipment, so it weighs about 12,000 pounds loaded. So hauling it with the 2008 Expedition that we currently have, that has a transmission issue, is not necessarily ideal. And that is actually owned by Mavis, so it could go anywhere in our Mavis district, which spans from up by Shumway, Vandalia area, and then we are the furthest south region, but it covers a vast area. So as you can see in my recommendations, I'm not the most mechanically sound, but I do know just about what I drive personally, and then things of that nature. I feel like the Cummins motor is going to last longer, more longevity, a little bit more maintenance throughout, obviously, less depreciation in my opinion than buying a brand new truck, but we get more bang for our buck. That's why I felt like that was the best, and we have 50,000 budgeted, and it's the cheapest. So having the opportunity to spend that extra money to get it outfitted, it still needs lights and things of that nature as well.
Ram still using a Cummins diesel?
Say again? Yes.
Still using a Cummins diesel?
Yes.
That's nothing, 32,000.
I don't know that my opinion really matters, but if I'm
Oh,
looking at
absolutely.
these trucks, I'm leaning, my entire fleet of work trucks is diesel engine, just cause they last so much longer. They do
Absolutely.
cost more on the front end, but they're worth more later.
Yep, absolutely. And as I stated before, I mean, we have a 2008 that we've been using since 2008. So if we're going to use a vehicle for 20 years, I would like to have something that is going to have that ability to last a significant amount of time. I don't do a lot of traveling as far as out of town. I do have a Chiefs meeting I have to go to every every other month in Effingham. So that's the other side of it. For those that are familiar with fuel mileage, a diesel engine is gonna get better fuel mileage going to Effingham for that meeting than what a 3/4 ton gas truck's going to. They've always been known kind of as gas hogs, just because that's a heavy truck for a gas engine. So, but yeah, I'm open to any questions, comments, concerns.
How heavy of stuff are you're gonna have a bunch of heavy equipment in it?
So currently, that's the other reason why we need a truck. So currently, if we go to a fire call, when we leave that call, all of our equipment from that call, the air packs, the hoses, all that stuff ends up in the bed of somebody's personal vehicle. And I have a big fear that one of these days, one of our couplings or something is gonna catch the side of a bed and it's gonna put a big dent inside of somebody's personal vehicle, and I don't want that. So, I don't have a laundry list of equipment that's gonna go in it as far as on a daily basis, if that's what you're asking. My gear goes in it, I carry my gear everywhere I go, so I swap it back from what vehicle I drive to my personal vehicle, depending on, what I'm driving. There will be an air pack in it at some point, potentially. The way that our department works, we all respond all the time, so, with that being said, a lot of times I'm the first guy there, so I'm packing up and going in, so there will be an air pack in it, at some point. OSHA prefers a clean cab concept is what their statements are, so like cancer causing products, so like my gear and that air pack should really be in the bed of the truck. A lot of our guys currently have tonneau covers or something of that nature in the back. That's something I'm still investigating on whether or not I wanna put a tonneau cover on a camper shell, things of that nature, because I still need to be able to load it full of hose, and I don't wanna be limited on how much hose I can put in it. So there's a lot of things that kinda are gonna be into consideration, and like I said, also, the idea would be to replace the Expedition at some point, so if we have two trucks, then maybe we can outfit one a little bit differently than the other one, so.
Or transmission this is a 3/4 ton?
Correct, yes, both, all of them.
You can't wear a 3/4 ton transmission out hardly,
Right.
especially with a diesel engine like that.
Yeah, and that's my hope. I mean, I think that's probably part of the reason why the 2008 transmission's starting to get wore out, is just from hauling this stuff around all these years, it wasn't, I mean, it's a 3/4 ton Expedition, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's hard on those transmissions,
Yes, it is.
and with a gas engine, so.
You guys keep them inside, so this thing's probably gonna last forever.
Yep, we clean and polish, wax, dry them, shame them every day. I mean, most people that tour our station would not believe that we have a 1996 Towers apparatus in the way it looks, cause we take care of what we have. It's good.
Questions, comments?
No, I don't.
Nice report, chief.
You guys good with the
Good
previous
research.
resolution?
Oh, definitely,
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
all
All
right,
right, very good.
appreciate it.
Thank you, chief. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Any further business to be had? Mr. Bridges, did you have something for us?
Which one first?
Go ahead, let Mike go first.
Who's waiting on dinner?
This is something we just found out about last Friday. IDOT announced, a funding opportunity of $400 million. It's for the whole state.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Well,
Whole state.
we can get our roads done.
We will take it all.
All right.
It's for transit and highways. This is due June 1st, so not a lot of time. But it can be used for anything transportation related. And it could be $100,000 to $10 million per project. In some of the information here, they estimate 200 awards, so that would be an average of $2 million per project, something like that.
This is a grant, you said, is that what you said?
It's more or less a grant, yeah. There's
Is
no
it-
match required,
No match required, wow.
Wow.
no match required.
Immediately, what jumps out to you that we have time to get rolling?
Well, the initial application is fairly simple.
Okay.
It's online, all done online. Most of it's just contact information, phone numbers. They do wanna know what kind of project type, and they do wanna know what phase of the project it's in. The further you are in the completion phase, the better. But it doesn't say it could be, they will fund anything from absolute beginning to utility adjustment through construction. So it's not, they don't specifically limit it. it would probably get a better score if it was further along, but it's not necessary. So, if, city council wants to proceed with this, we need to know what project you would want to do.
So this might sound naive, but can we use this for our current project on Main Street?
The storm sewer?
Yeah,
No.
can we use it on any kind of overlay or any kind of upgrades for traffic signals or for
Yes.
handicap access on sidewalks that we're
Yes.
doing up and down?
One of the big things, one of the things they list in here is safety,
Okay,
which, the Main Street resurfacing would include all the ADA ramps.
right, which we hadn't really considered, and they thought that might come in at
Right, all the ADA ramps.
50,000, 60, didn't we think it?
No more than
Or
that.
was it 200?
It was more than
It was
that.
200, it was a big chunk, so.
We're talking $5,000-6,000.
So would we, that considered to be a project already initiated, so it might give us a better opportunity?
Well, they're gonna be looking at, this is IDOT, so they're gonna be looking at, does it have a section number, does it have you started anything, the process, environmental review like that. So that, we really haven't done that because we were not gonna use any IDOT funds
Right.
for the Main Street
So
project.
what do we have that already might have that? Nothing?
Don't have anything right now.
So what about a road like North Walnut?
Well, we were talking North Walnut or, Butler Street, or, Butler.
Mhm.
It's really, at this point, it could be anything.
That, I know it's not underway, obviously, but the East Street Bridge, has sidewalks, that go beside it. That's kind of a safety concern.
That's already,
We already
That-
have money for
we-
that.
we've already got,
for
the
grants.
state's already got 600,000 in that one.
Given the choice, for me personally, Walnut Street is really bad. And our fire stations, it's on
Yeah.
Walnut Street.
It is. It's
So it
bad.
would be kinda nice if firefighters, when they were
There's a link, is there a water line underneath?
moving out in a hurry.
We need to replace
If
the
it
water
was-
line from Scott to Butler on Walnut.
But you said they would do,
But if they'll do
utility.
it,
Utility adjustments, it does say utility adjustments are on here.
Well, and that's something we can't pay for out of business districts. And that would probably be a ways down the road, because it doesn't qualify for
it does. It qualifies for SQ.
does it? But we've already got a project that needs to
So
be
it'll
done.
be 10 years before them, probably 10 years before those come available again.
Be 90-year concrete by that time.
So what would be the city's cost-ish to just throw our hat in the ring on that for Walnut?
The construction cost?
No, cost to apply for the grant, all that. I need educated here, I guess.
Your time, but.
Yeah, and I typically, I do that.
All right.
He gets paid once we get it done.
All right. That's why I'm here. This is the education
know.
portion of the
That's
evening.
good.
Yeah.
And would we be considering Maine all the way out to Mac? We would do the whole shoot and match?
It would
Or
be-
from maybe Butler on north?
I would say from Butler North, because then we could do from Butler South with the business district.
Business district can use those funds. And could we keep Walnut the same width all the way out this time?
Yeah,
I was curious why it necks in there
Why did
past
it
the
go,
cemetery.
yeah,
I'm guessing because that was out in the country, I'm guessing.
I'm sure it was.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing north of the
now,
cemetery it
the only
was.
thing about, Walnut Street, is thinking about it, if you're gonna go north, that's really narrow.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's really not much way to widen that without storm sewer or getting right of way, and getting right of way is probably gonna
Not gonna happen.
it's gonna really hurt your chances. Getting right of way, not that it'll kill it, but, obtaining right of way,
So the north end will remain neck down. I mean, it's still okay, but boy, it sure does the
Yeah.
neck down.
How
So-
big is the right of way on like the 1100 block of North Walnut? How wide's your right of way?
it's probably like 50 feet.
Yeah.
It stays all the same, man.
Does it go all the way?
It would, I think it's more than that, but it stays all the same all the way up.
From
Okay.
Scott to,
Cause there's
It would
quite a
take
bit
it'll
of
take a
easement
lot of-
between, the pavement and the sidewalk, even though the
Yeah.
street
It's
narrows,
huge.
it stays.
I think it's like 70 feet.
I think it's a 70, I thought it was a
I
75
think it goes all the way
foot
to,
road.
Yeah,
Mac.
cause I gotta maintain some out up there,
Yeah,
it's big.
it
It's
sounds
like
like,
that-
70 feet up in the north part.
so, this sounds like the project that we wanna maybe,
So Mike, does it pay
Pursue.
for engineering too?
it will, it's got a list here of, let's see. Okay. The funding request can be for pre-construction activities, which would be environmental, field work, plans, that kind of thing, or construction. So I'm assuming have to pick one or the other. And on a project like this, if there, you know, a grant of this amount, you probably wanna go with construction.
Oh, yeah.
You
The
wanna go with
environmental
construction
shouldn't be too bad up through there, I wouldn't think, should it?
If you don't have to get right away.
But you don't
I
think we
think
do.
it's big, I just, for some odd reason, it's like 70 feet up there, I think, for some,
But we
it
will
blew
also,
my mind.
we're also gonna be, if you're going, now, so what part of Walnut Street are we talking about?
Guessing north of Butler, right?
certainly north of Butler.
North of Butler
At
to
least up to.
all the way to Mac?
I'm guessing.
That
Okay.
would be ideal.
When you get north of the, I guess the ditch, bottom of the hill there,
Yep.
there's gonna be, you're gonna have some excavation. You're not just gonna be able to take out the street and replace it. You're gonna have some excavation, and that's gonna be into environmental. Even though you're on the right of way, you're disturbing areas that
That
probably
drain-
have not been
That
disturbed.
drainage, yeah.
And one of the things in here, you need to get these projects going in 2 years. Initiated in 2 years. That could be a problem with environmental.
You know, we increased the flow of that creek that runs all through there, come behind Sunshine Village, made that box culvert all the way through. Did we put a new culvert in under Walnut? Would that all have to be redone? Or
It would not have to be redone.
Okay, cause that was a fairly recent project.
It was.
No, sounds good.
That would not have to be redone.
IDOT must keep a separate budget in the state of Illinois, cause where'd they come up with this money?
No,
Cause the state of Illinois is hurting.
This was a surprise.
That really truly
And
is.
when I saw the 400 million, I thought, you know,
That can't be right.
Gas
I
tax
thought
or
it was off by,
So what do you think, how, I mean, spitballing it, how much do you think it costs from Butler to Mac?
I don't know, you remember, Tom, I think we did a survey on that.
Three.
All right.
Was it 263, something like that, 2.6?
Yeah,
And that was no water line.
That was no
I'd
water,
say
and
you're
I think
looking at
that was taking out the concrete and replacing it on,
With concrete, where it's concrete, and then doing soil cement north?
No, I think it was all of it.
I think it was all of it.
Concrete all the way?
Yeah,
Would
that'd
you do
be
that?
great.
I mean, is that what you would suggest?
Yeah.
That's an old street, that concrete's gonna be hard
Well,
as
you thought it was
granite.
from the fifties.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no control joints in it or anything.
Nothing. It's hard.
It's been there a while.
They did a good job patching.
Yeah, no, wow. It's a godsend if we could get this
Yeah.
pulled off. It
It-
sounds
it-
really
It would be,
opportunistic.
and like I say, this initial application isn't that bad. If you make the second round, then they're gonna ask for more details.
But we've got a lot more time at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it doesn't say, you know, when the, you know, make the second cut, but
Matt, to answer your question, I mean, so if we applied for the grant and say we wanted, and it's gonna be $5 million, we might only get 3, so we'd have to come up with the other 2. Plus, we would also be responsible for the engineering costs, which can
Okay.
be, I don't know with IDOT what that percentage is
it would,
18?
it would probably be somewhere around 15%.
Thank you for bringing us down to earth, Jane. It's like, well,
Nothing's free.
nothing is free,
Would,
but, yeah,
would we be able to just submit a grand sidewalk program to them and say, you know, we'd like to see sidewalks because of safety concerns on Mack Avenue where there's no sidewalk up until Walnut, and then, you know, just load it up and say, this is what we're working on, we just don't have any money to fulfill it right now.
That's, Mac Avenue is a very tough spot for sidewalks because of those power poles and no riders.
And it really needs to be widened too, but it's those power, I don't know how much it's gonna cost to move those power lines.
Yeah,
Feasible would be to will, all down.
Well, see, we've got it in the business district. what's the consensus?
Walnut.
Julia?
I would say walnut.
I'd lean towards Walnut, I drive all over Aldi and I lean
It's high
toward that.
traffic.
And
It
say
really
if he
is.
applies and
Yeah.
we end up making it through a couple of steps and then we figure out later, you know, hey, we just really, we can't come up with the rest for the environmental work, then we can always say, we're not married to it just yet, but if you don't apply, you know,
We're not gonna
we're
do it.
out.
Right.
Mhm.
If you want, if you're gonna do a big project, something like that is something you're gonna wanna do is walnut, for sure, because it lasts forever. You put concrete in it.
That's true.
Mhm.
You can always, there's always gotta be other, grants out there for sidewalks.
Yeah, there's Safe Route for School grants that I think we can jump back into one of these days too.
Speaking of that, Holly Road, is that, leading all the way to the school? And I'm just throwing it out there, I'm not saying it's the one, but,
Well,
has
that
anybody?
would probably have to be the township.
That's the township.
Okay, I thought we owned that.
Well, just
Part
part
of
of the school.
In front.
Okay.
We end at the edge of the school.
I mean, everybody seems to lean on Walnut, and I like, if we're gonna do a project that lasts a long time, that'd be the one.
Okay. Need to know anything else, Mr. Bridges?
I don't believe so at this time.
Sounds like a plan.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's, I just need to get
Yeah.
Fallon and Jenny,
Sounds
put the
good.
application
Mhm.
together.
2 weeks.
Thanks, Mike.
2 weeks. Sprinkle
Yeah,
some,
I know.
sprinkle some fairy dust on it, send it off.
Gonna be
Mr.
burning
Miller.
them when that oil.
Yeah. Mike's done a lot of grand airs. He's probably got a few.
100 feet. So, Alan got back and I got talking, we have a sinkhole out on Taylor Lakeside Drive, that is the size of probably that desk. And it's a storm sewer that runs from Shawn over and dumps out in the lake, the pipe's crushed, it's curled in, it's like 10 or 12 foot deep. I don't have the equipment to do with it, I don't have the cages, we don't want our guys down there, we don't want nobody getting hurt. So I talked to Shores to see if they would give us a daily rate, cause until we really uncover it, we think we know what we're getting into, we think we're gonna be able to replace maybe 20 or 30 feet, we're roughly saying 60. I got a daily rate from Shores, cause they're in town, they're gonna have to take their big trackhoe out there, the big trench box, because it's so deep to do it safely. We think it's going to take 2 to 3 days.
Good day.
We think 2 really, but we're saying 3, I mean, maybe 4, but it is gonna be over the $10,000 mark. Alan was just wanting to bring it, cause we wanna get them on the schedule if we're gonna have them do it before they leave town.
Right, no.
Or we can go out for bids and throw a dart and see if we can get anything under their rates.
Well, I would almost think this would be considered an emergency, cause it is growing.
It's growing, it's getting massive. Every rain we get. At some point, probably within the next 5 years, we are going to have to replace it again.
They're just asking the council to waive formal bidding,
Yeah.
and at some point in the next month or two,
I'm hoping sooner than that, but yes, probably by the end, I'd say by the 1st of June,
yeah.
they can hopefully move out there and do that, as long as Main Street goes as good as what we think it is the next little bit.
But we can't give a firm.
I don't know a
price.
firm price, cause I know some pipe, but I don't know, we're hoping 2 days. It shouldn't take them long to dig it down to it,
No.
obviously with that,
With the size of that backhoe.
yeah, it doesn't take
And
much.
I know setting up a project is transportation costs and scheduling are real challenges.
Yeah.
They're right here with the equipment.
Mhm.
You don't like the unforeseen, but this is an opportune
Yeah,
time
they're
to
gonna let
have
us,
them do it.
we're gonna haul some rock and back and forth, they're gonna let us buy all the parts, they're just gonna charge us
Yeah.
their
so,
labor rate to do it.
If it's gotta happen, this was a good time to have happen.
So you're just wanting our blessing to go ahead and.
Move
try
with
to-
on with Shores if we can, we're just gonna have to waive a formal bidding process, cause we're gonna be over the 10,000.
We're looking somewhere a little less than 20 or.
I was gonna say,
Or over 20, yeah, we've got 30 budgeted.
I'm okay waiving the formal, but it would just be prudent, at least for the minutes, to say, you can't go over 100 grand.
No,
or something.
no, I'm
just
not gonna
don't
go over
So we're
We
trying
should
to
be
stay
able-
within the budget.
Yes,
Stay
no, we
within the
should be able to just
Yeah.
go down, take
Just do
out
it.
what we need to do. I mean, I'll be there with them the entire time, and it's just gonna be, hey, this is where we're stopping.
Good.
And
Yeah.
get us until we get the money to do the rest of it, hopefully in 5 years, cause we're going to have more issues.
Yeah.
And it's all in that 10 to 12, some of that stuff dumping out of the lake, maybe like 15 foot deep.
What's the pipe type that's in there now?
Plastic, it's just
Is it
black.
lined or?
No, it's just N12, double dual wall,
Okay.
and it's just crashing. I don't think there was much compaction on the sides of the pipe, and it's just, the top's busting out of it, it's just squished out to the side.
If you let it for bid, it's gonna be way higher than if you have them run out there for 2 and 3 days and
No
you
question.
supply the parts.
Yeah, I'm gonna supply all the
Double.
parts and,
At least double if you let it for bid.
We did budget 30,000.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're within range there.
we should go get it under that. We're thinking it's under 20, or 20, a little over 20.
Questions or comments?
Go.
Any further business to be had? Any further business? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.